welcome. You're here now, and that's enough. Tonight, we'll be exploring something quiet and constant, something that has been happening since the very beginning of time, and something that continues even now, as you rest. It's about motion, but not the kind that demands your attention. This is the gentle, steady motion of everything in the universe, the motion of spinning. It moves at over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, and yet you feel nothing, just stillness. Just the soft weight of your body against the bed, the quiet rhythm of your breathing. The Earth has been spinning like this for more than 4 billion years, long before there were mountains or oceans or life of any kind, long before there was anyone to notice. And it will continue in the same patient way for billions of years more. This spinning isn't hurried. It takes 24 hours for the Earth to complete one full rotation, one slow turn that gives us day and night, sunrise and sunset, the same rhythm, over and over, like a lullaby that never ends. And it's not just the Earth. The Moon is spinning too, as it drifts in its orbit around us. The Sun turns slowly on its axis, taking about 25 days to complete a single rotation. The planets in our solar system, all of them, are spinning, some faster, some slower. Jupiter completes a full turn in just 10 hours. Venus takes 243 Earth days, each one moving at its own pace, turning in the darkness of space. Beyond our solar system, stars are spinning, galaxies are spinning. Everything from the smallest particle to the largest structure in the cosmos is engaged in this slow, endless rotation. Tonight, we'll move through this quietly. There's no urgency here. No need to remember or hold on to anything. Just the awareness that as you drift towards sleep, the universe is turning. It has always been turning. And within that turning, there is something deeply peaceful, a constancy, a rhythm older than anything you can imagine. So settle in, let your thoughts slow. There's nothing you need to do. The universe is spinning, and you are part of it, moving through space on this turning planet, held gently in place by forces that began long ago and will continue long after this night is over. We'll begin by tracing this motion back to its origins, back to the earliest moments, when the universe was young and everything was just beginning to take shape, when the first clouds of gas and dust began their long, slow turn. We begin a long time ago, not with anything sudden or bright, but with something much quieter. The early universe was vast and nearly uniform, almost smooth, but not quite. There were tiny irregularities, small differences in density, so slight they would have been impossible to see. In some places, matter was just a little more concentrated than in others. These differences were subtle, random, but they were enough. Over time, vast stretches of time, gravity began to work on these irregularities. Where there was slightly more matter, gravity pulled a little harder. Slowly, very slowly, clouds of gas began to gather. They drifted toward these denser regions, drawn together over millions of years. As these clouds grew larger, they began to collapse inward, not all at once, but gradually. And as they collapsed, something inevitable happened. They began to turn. This wasn't a choice or an accident. It's simply what happens when matter comes together in space. Any small motion, any tiny drift to one side or the other, becomes amplified as the cloud contracts, like water circling a drain but stretched across eons. The turning is gentle at first, almost imperceptible, but it's there. This principle has a name: conservation of angular momentum. It means that once something starts spinning, that spin is preserved. As the cloud of gas grows smaller and denser, the rotation speeds up, not suddenly, but steadily, the way ice skaters spin faster when they pull their arms in close. The same principle, but happening over distances measured in light years and timescales measured in millions of years. These early spins were slow and patient. The clouds turned as they collapsed, and within them, smaller clouds formed and began to turn as well, each one inheriting the motion of the larger structure it came from. Rotation passed down, like a quiet inheritance, from one generation of cosmic structure to the next. This is where it all began. Every planet, every star, every galaxy that exists today carries within it the memory of these first rotations, the spin encoded into the fabric of the universe when matter first began to gather and turn. Nothing about this process was rushed. Let's move closer now, closer to home, to the familiar objects that share our corner of space, each one turning in its own way, each one carrying forward the ancient motion we've been following. The Earth beneath you is spinning. It completes one full rotation every 24 hours. This is the rhythm you've known your entire life. Day becoming night, becoming day again. The same pattern, repeating, the same gentle turn that has continued for more than 4 billion years. This rotation is why the sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west. The Earth turns toward the sun, then away from it, then toward it again, over and over. A cycle so reliable you can set your life by it. And you do. But even this motion is changing, very slowly, so slowly you would never notice. The Earth's rotation is gradually slowing down, about 1.7 milliseconds per century. In 100 years, a day becomes just slightly longer. Not enough to measure without precise instruments, not enough to feel. But it's happening. The moon is responsible for this. Its gravity pulls on the Earth's oceans, creating tides, and those tides, over time, create a gentle drag, a whisper of friction that slowly, patiently reduces the Earth's spin. Billions of years ago, a day was only about 6 hours long. The Earth turned much faster then. Now it turns more slowly, and it will continue to slow in the same patient way for billions of years to come. The other planets spin too, each at their own pace, each in their own manner. Venus turns very slowly. It takes 243 Earth days to complete a single rotation, and it spins backward in the opposite direction from most other planets. Why this is, we're not entirely certain. Perhaps a collision long ago shifted its motion, but now it turns this way, slowly, in reverse. One long day, stretching across months. Mercury spins slowly as well. It takes 59 Earth days to turn once. Its days are long and quiet. Jupiter, the largest planet, spins quickly. It completes a full rotation in just under 10 hours. Despite its enormous size, it turns faster than Earth. The clouds in its atmosphere race around the planet, striped in bands of color, driven by that rapid spin. Saturn turns quickly too, about 10.5 hours for one rotation. Its rings follow along, orbiting in the same direction, a flat disk of ice and rock turning in the darkness. Each planet spinning, each one at a different speed, but all of them turning in the same basic direction, inherited from the spinning disk of gas and dust that formed the solar system billions of years ago. And then there's the sun. The sun spins too, though not as a solid object would. Because it's made of gas and plasma, different parts rotate at different speeds. At the equator, the Sun takes about 25 Earth days to complete one rotation. Farther from the equator, toward the poles, it takes longer. About 35 days. The Sun turns slowly, unevenly, but it turns. All of these rotations continue, day after day, year after year. They are predictable, reliable, constant. The planets turn, the Sun turns. Moons orbit and spin, everything moving in its long-established pattern, a cosmic rhythm that has persisted since these objects first formed. A lullaby played on a scale of worlds and stars, repeating endlessly. As you lie here, this motion surrounds you. The Earth turns beneath you. The Moon orbits above. The Sun, though hidden now by night, continues its slow rotation, and the other planets scattered across the solar system, each spinning in their own quiet way. Nothing about this motion demands your attention. It simply continues. It has always continued, and it will go on, turning long after this night fades into morning. Now we move outward, beyond the solar system, beyond individual stars, to the largest spinning structures in the universe, the galaxies. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is spinning. The entire structure, with all its hundreds of billions of stars, turns slowly around its center. Very slowly. It takes about 225 million years to complete one full rotation. This is sometimes called a cosmic year. In all of human history, in all the time our species has existed, the galaxy has completed only a small fraction of one turn. Dinosaurs walked the Earth about one cosmic year ago. The last time our solar system was in this exact position, circling the galactic center, the world was a very different place. But the galaxy turns, patiently, carrying the Sun and Earth and all the other stars along with it. The spiral arms of the Milky Way, those graceful curves you might see in photographs, are not solid structures. They're not groups of stars moving together like a spoke on a wheel. Instead, they're density waves, regions where stars and gas are temporarily more concentrated. Stars drift into these arms, pass through them, and drift out the other side. The pattern persists, but the stars themselves are always changing, like ripples frozen in time but not truly frozen. Still moving, just very, very slowly. Other galaxies spin too, billions of them scattered throughout the universe, each one rotating around its own center. Some are spiral galaxies like ours, with their arms trailing outward. Some are elliptical, rotating in more complex ways. The Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large neighbor, spins with a rotation period similar to the Milky Way's, around 200 million years for one full turn. It's moving through space, slowly approaching our galaxy, but also spinning as it moves. Both galaxies turning over timescales that dwarf anything in human experience. Smaller galaxies spin faster. Larger ones can take even longer. But the motion is always there, always present. Galaxies are wheels turning in the darkness, vast collections of stars, all moving together in their slow, circular dance. Even beyond individual galaxies, the rotation continues. Galaxy clusters, groups of dozens or hundreds of galaxies bound together by gravity, show signs of rotation. Though the timescales here become almost impossible to comprehend, hundreds of millions or even billions of years for any measurable turn. Motion so slow it can barely be detected, but it's there. Everything participates, from the smallest galaxy to the largest structures we can observe. All of them spinning, all of them carrying forward the motion that began when the universe was young. There's something peaceful in this, in knowing that rotation exists at every scale, that the galaxy is turning just as surely as the Earth beneath you is turning. The same principle, the same patient motion, just stretched across distances and timescales that feel infinite. As you rest, the Milky Way continues its long rotation. The other galaxies continue theirs, all of them turning, all of them moving through the darkness of space in their ancient, established patterns. Nothing about this motion is rushed. Nothing demands that it be any different than it is. The galaxies turn because they have always turned, and they will continue in the same stately way for billions of years more. We've traveled from planets to stars to galaxies. Now we move in the other direction, inward, to the smallest things that exist. And there we find something remarkable. Even at the tiniest scales, rotation is present. Every particle in the universe possesses something called spin. Electrons have spin, protons have spin. Quarks, the smallest building blocks of matter we know of, have spin. It's a fundamental property, like mass or charge. It's simply part of what they are. This spin isn't quite the same as the spinning of planets or galaxies. Particles aren't little spheres rotating in space. The word spin is borrowed, a way of describing something that doesn't have a perfect analogy in our everyday world, but it behaves like rotation. This is one of nature's deepest patterns. Rotation exists everywhere, at every scale, from the inconceivably small to the incomprehensibly large, from particles far too tiny to see even with the most powerful microscopes, to galaxies spanning hundreds of thousands of light years, all of it turning. There's a symmetry to this, a kind of signature that the universe has written into everything. The same principle repeated across scales that differ by factors of trillions and trillions. Quantum spin and galactic rotation, connected not by cause, but by similarity, by the presence of this one quality, this one type of motion, everywhere. No one fully understands why this is, why rotation appears at every level of reality, why it's so fundamental, so persistent, so universal. It remains one of the mysteries, one of the deep questions that science continues to explore. But the pattern is clear: spin at the quantum level, rotation at the cosmic level, and everything in between, all of it turning. As you lie here, particles within you carry their unchanging spin. The Earth turns beneath you. The galaxy wheels slowly overhead. All of it connected by this thread, this common quality, rotation, woven into the structure of everything that exists. It's always been there. In every moment, at every scale, the universe has been turning, and it continues now, as you rest, quietly, endlessly. A motion so fundamental, it appears wherever we look, from the smallest particle to the largest structure in the cosmos. We've seen rotation everywhere, in particles and planets and galaxies, but there's something more to understand, something about why this motion continues, why it never stops. There's a principle in physics called conservation of angular momentum. It states that rotation, once begun, persists. It doesn't fade away on its own. It doesn't wind down like a clock that needs rewinding. Unless something acts to stop it, the spinning continues, indefinitely. This is different from how we experience motion in our daily lives. When you roll a ball across the floor, it eventually stops. Friction slows it down. The resistance of the air, the texture of the ground. But in space, there is no friction. Space is nearly empty. A vacuum so complete that nothing can rub against a spinning planet or a rotating galaxy to slow it down. And so the motion continues. The Earth has been spinning for over 4 billion years, and it will continue spinning for billions more. The galaxy has been rotating for more than 10 billion years. The motion doesn't fade, it persists, carried forward by its own momentum, unimpeded by anything in the vast emptiness of space. Rotation is stable. In some ways, it's easier for something to keep spinning than to stop. A spinning object has a kind of balance to it. A gyroscope resists being tipped over. A bicycle stays upright more easily when its wheels are turning. Rotation creates stability, and once established, it naturally continues. This is why the rhythms we observe are so predictable, so reliable. The Earth's rotation gives us day and night, over and over, in a pattern that has never varied. The Earth's orbit around the Sun, which is itself a form of rotation, gives us the seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. The same cycle repeating year after year. The Moon's orbit around Earth, the planet's orbits around the Sun, the Sun's orbit around the galactic center. All of these are rotations, all of them predictable, all of them ongoing, sustained by the conservation of angular momentum and the absence of anything to stop them. The universe, it seems, prefers motion over stillness, but not chaotic motion, not random or frantic movement. Instead, it prefers circular motion, rotation, orbits, patterns that repeat, motion that is balanced and stable and enduring. There's something deeply reassuring in this, in knowing that the motions around us and within us are not temporary. They don't depend on constant effort or energy to maintain. They simply continue because that is their nature. Because the universe is structured in a way that allows rotation to persist. As you rest, these rhythms surround you. The turning of the Earth, so steady you've never known anything else. The orbit of the Moon, pulling the tides in their regular cycle. The distant rotation of the galaxy, too slow to perceive but always there. These patterns have continued for longer than anything you can imagine. And they will continue long after this night, long after this season, long after this lifetime. The rotation persists, the motion endures, not because anything forces it to, but because nothing stops it, because the universe allows it to simply be. And in that persistence, there is peace, the knowledge that some things continue, that some rhythms are eternal, that the universe turns and will keep turning in its patient, circular way. And so we return to where we began, to this moment, to you resting here as the Earth turns beneath you. Everything we've explored tonight continues. The particles have their constant spin. The planets are turning at their different speeds. The Sun is rotating slowly. The galaxy is wheeling through space in its long, patient orbit. All of it is ongoing. All of it is present right now as you lie here. The motion that began billions of years ago hasn't stopped. It surrounds you. The Earth completes another rotation, bringing day and then night and then day again. The Moon continues its orbit, the same orbit it has followed for billions of years. The rhythm doesn't change. It simply continues. There's something peaceful in this constancy, in knowing that the universe is in motion, but that the motion is predictable, stable, the same patterns repeating, the same gentle turning that has always been there. You are part of this rotation, your body made of atoms, made of particles that carry their own intrinsic spin, resting on a planet that turns, orbiting a star that turns, within a galaxy that turns, all of it connected. All of it is participating in the same ancient motion. As you rest, the Earth carries you through space, not in a straight line, but in circles, orbiting the Sun. The Sun itself orbits the galactic center, circles within circles, rotation at every scale, and you moving along with it, held gently in place by gravity, by the curvature of space, by forces that have shaped the universe since the beginning. The turning continues whether we notice it or not. It doesn't require our attention. It doesn't ask anything of us. It simply is, the way things are, the way they have always been. Billions of galaxies scattered through the universe, each one spinning. Each one carries its own collection of stars and planets and smaller structures, all turning together. An infinite number of wheels moving through the darkness. All of them are part of the same pattern, the same signature that appears everywhere we look. The universe is not still, but its motion is not frantic or chaotic. It's circular, rhythmic, a slow dance that has been going on for billions of years and will continue for billions more. And within that dance, there is room for rest, for stillness within motion, for peace within the turning. As this night continues, the Earth will keep spinning. By morning, it will have completed another rotation, another day, another cycle in the endless pattern. The moon will have moved a little farther in its orbit. The stars will have shifted slightly in their positions. Everything is moving, but moving in ways that are familiar, expected, comforting. You don't need to hold on to any of this. The universe will continue its rotation without effort. The galaxies will keep turning. The particles will maintain their spin. The Earth will carry you through another night and into another day. It all continues. It has always continued. And so there is nothing left to do. Nothing to think about or remember. Just the awareness, if it's still there, that you are part of something vast and turning, that motion surrounds you at every scale, that the universe is spinning, and within that spin, you rest. The dance continues. It always has. It always will. And for now, you are simply here, held gently in place as everything turns.